السلام عليكم طلابنا. In the previous lecture we have tackled with the lexical verbs. The first type of verbs from the lexical with its two subclasses, regular and irregular. Today we are going to deal with the functional or with the classes of the functional or the primary verbs or functional verbs, starting with the primary. And the auxiliary have been classified into primary verbs and modal. The primary verbs consist of what or contains the three categories: do, have, and be. Starting with the first one, which is do. Here we have certain forms for the do verbs. Do is the present form, the base be, and I have does as the VES or VS, sorry, and I have what? Again, as usual, the five forms of the verb. Here you see, and if you remember the five forms, I have V, اللي هو do, I have VS, does, I have VED1, which is did, I have VED2, done, and VING, which is doing. So here I have what? Non-negative and contracted negative and contracted negative. The non-negative, I have do, does, and present, and past, and did in the past. Uncontracted means unabbreviated, full form. Here it is what? The abbreviated one. All of us know that do can be as a lexical verb, have a meaning, اللي هو make or do or something like that. So they contain or they are grouped within, in some cases they are grouped within the lexical verbs. Means perform, sorry. And as a verb, if you remember, the perform has the full range of forms, including the present participle doing and the past participle done and something like that. Look at here at the sentence. What have you been doing today? Doing here is what? Is a lexical verb having the ing, so it is VING. You said you would finish it. I have done, you see, done اللي هو VED2 for the verb do. This is what consent. طبعا we use the use of contracted and uncontracted concerning the written and spoken forms. What else? We have the second category of the primary, which is have. Have again have the same five forms. Here I have the base, contracted, uncontracted, and the full form. Here in the case of non-negative, the positive form, have, or the abbreviated one, apostrophe VE. The S form or the S form I have has, apostrophe or abbreviated as apostrophe S, and as you have said. ED participle had only as lexical verb. Look at this note, it's very important here. In which cases I can consider have and has as lexical, in other cases can be what? Primary. In the stative sense of possession, have is often special in the British, constructed as an auxiliary. Stated forms, in which cases, in which meaning I can consider have as stated. If have means possessiveness, having, I have. See, there's some sort of possessiveness. So here, if I ask you about the meaning or whether have here stative or dynamic, you should say it is what? Stative verb. Why it is stative? Because it means When I say I haven't any books means I do not have these books are not mine. So يعني I do not have, I do not possess any book. So here meaning, so accordingly it is what here I haven't with the British, I do not have in with the American English. But if it is dynamic, which means receive, take, experience, lexical have in both American and British normally has the do construction. Does he have coffee with his breakfast? Did you have any difficulty in getting here? Here, the meaning of have, it is have here in both these two sentences are dynamic. The meaning or the senses, they are what they are taking or experiencing or something like that. So in both cases, since it is dynamic, so it is what lexical. So I will have do construction, whether it is a British or American. The do construction is required in such expressions like, did you have a good time? Did you have a good time? It is what do construction and experiencing. There is no informal have got where have is constructed as an auxiliary, which is frequently preferred, especially in British. As an alternative have, it is particularly common in negative and interrogative sentences. As a further alternative for expressing negation, we have the negative determiner no. I haven't got any books. I have no books. And this is a use of got. I haven't got any books means I have no books. Means yani got, it is something informal usage in the British. What else? We have the third and the last category of the primary verbs, which is lexic or be verbs, اللي هو is, are, am, was. If you remember, be verbs is one of the verbs that can take 5 or 8 forms. 8 forms. Starting with lexical, طبعا by the way, do, have, be, both of them can function as auxiliary and lexical. So the lexical and auxiliary verb be is unique. Why unique? Because it is within or among English verbs in having 8 different forms. You see, in present, in past, طبعا هذه بالpresent form and past form, and I have the ing, then I have the ed participle. In the present, I have the first person singular. Say am. I have the third person singular, is. The second and first and third person plural, are. يعني is, are, am, they are within the present form. In the past, I have was and were. Was for first and third person singular, and were for the second and first and third person singular. طبعا here I have the contracted and uncontracted forms. Yes. What about the ing form and the being or not being, being, sorry, the ed participle, I have been. Leave this note here. It is not something not needed here, I think. Yes, please, just a minute, please. Okay. Look at this note on page 37. The lexical verb be may have the do construction. Do construction in what is called persuasive imperative sentences. Persuasive imperative sentences. طبعا by God's will, بالfourth year you are going to deal with such kind of imperatives or persuasive. Here, and its negative form اللي هي don't be quiet or do be quiet. Do be quiet or having do here Do be quiet. One here, be quiet. Be quiet. But in persuasive, do be quiet here because it is persuasive one. In negative form, it is what? Don't be silly, for example. And starting with don't followed by be and the complementation. The second category of the auxiliary, the well functional, the model auxiliaries. Again, these will be done or studied in more detail in this chapter, at the end of this chapter by God's will. What are they? In the negative, in non-negative, and they have the uncontracted, and they are what? Please pay more attention for this classification. I have can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, all. See, this is the full form and this is the contracted form. Both of or all of them are in positive, or yes, in the positive form. Say I have what? Ought to, used to, need, the uncontracted, the full form, they are as the following. The contracted as the same. Leave this note, the note here, but pay more attention to C, note number C. Out regularly has the to infinitive, out to, but American English occasionally has the bare infinitive in negative sentences and in questions. Though should is commoner in both cases. طبعا the meaning of should or the ought to is what called logical necessity. You ought not smoke so much. You ought not smoke so much. You see, this is American one. There is no ought, or there is no to here. Ought you smoke so much? Here again, not ought to full form. It is what only ought without to.